Hello YouTubers, what we're going to do today is we're going to etch the powder coated tumblers with the Citristrip. It's kind of a fun, cool project and a heck of a lot cheaper than buying a laser to do it. So let me go show you what you need. Alright, so you're going to need a powder coated tumbler, and what that means is it's stainless steel and then they've coated it in a finish. So that's what you're going to need. I got these at our new improved Dollar Tree. They were $5, so they're in the snooty section. So they come in a handful of colors. You can also buy them online, but I thought they were a much cheaper alternative than going for a much more expensive powder coated tumbler. So you're gonna need one of those. Not all of them etch. I grabbed this one at Hobby Lobby and it doesn't come off. I don't know if you can tell. It'll dull it a little bit, but it won't actually cut through the finish. So don't go buy a bunch of them. Test them first and then go back and buy a bunch of them, because not everything etches. So you're gonna need your tumbler, your Citristrip. As of making this video, the price to get it off Amazon and the price at Home Depot are about the same. So as long as you get it from somewhere. And then I like to use a cup. And this is actually a lip gloss applicator. I like this over a paintbrush because it's disposable and I can dab and throw away. I'm not having to deal with a paintbrush and everything. So a little cup and a lipstick applicator. You're probably going to want some kind of stabby, pokey, peely kind of thing, because we're going to have to peel our coating off to see. So stabby, picky tool of some kind. And then I've been using, this is a Kleenex box. And it works really well for holding your tumbler. So that's what I've been using, because you're going to have to let it sit for quite a while. Alright, so I'm going to use this vinyl for my stencil. This is my local vinyl place. It calls it foiled vinyl. It's adhesive. It's incredibly sticky and very thick. The reason I like that is, just as it says, because it's extremely sticky, you're going to have less likely to have run-ins under your vinyl. And because it's thicker, you have a little bit more margin of error for error if you squish or do anything like that. So that's why I've picked this. No, it's not the cheapest stuff. I think it's about $3 for a 12 by 12 sheet, but you don't need very much of it. And I think it gives you much cleaner lines. This is traditional, like Oracle. And you can even feel how much thinner this is. This is much thicker and stickier. So that's what I'm using, and that's why I'm using it. So. Alright, so in an effort to kind of keep this video moving along, this I made in Silhouette Studio. This is Times New Roman, the J is, and then I made a circle, 2 circles to go around it, and then I've cut it and weeded out those 2 pieces to create our stencil. And I left a big box around it. I'm going to use painter's tape over here because we're a little close over there, just in case. And then we're going to use transfer tape to transfer it over. So that's how I got that. Okay, so this is my transfer tape. I put it down. Now, don't be alarmed, because when you go to peel it, it's not going to stick at all. So, what I do is we're going to cut off the extra transfer tape. Alright, so see, I've got it started now. And now as I pull, I'm going to press with my scraper. And that way we can get it to stick to our transfer tape. So I'm going to take the top off, and then we're going to rub this guy down with some just rubbing alcohol. That way it gets off any grease from our hands or anything like that. And then we're going to attempt not to touch the bejesus out of it before we get our sticker on there. Or our decal, I'm sorry. So this is our Kleenex box that I have our cup sitting on. I like the Kleenex boxes quite a lot because you have them in your house anyway. They do eventually tear at the bottom. At that time, I just get another one. But it's a great free little holder thing, because it's going to have to sit for quite a while. Now, I made our stencil. It's about 2.5 inches in diameter. My circle is. Now, keep in mind that you don't want something really, really long and skinny. Or if you do, you need to break it up into pieces, because obviously this is liquid. It's going to scrump and dump and everything else. So either long and skinny or something circle-ishy. Also, keep in mind you can't make something so big that you're going to have wrinkles in your transfer. It's got to sit flat against our cup. So keep that in mind when you're making your design. And we're going to use the force here. Because the big thing is you got to have this guy flat against your cup. If you don't, it's going to leak. And I got a little aggressive there with my weeding, so we may have a little leakage there. But now wrinkles here are okay, but here where your stencil is what's got to be flat. Now we're going to pull off our transfer tape. There we go. Alright, so Citristrip in our little cup, our lip gloss applicator. The key to this is you just gotta dab. You can't like dab. The reason being that if you rub, you're more likely to force the stripper underneath your, that sounded really naughty. It'll get underneath your stencil, so dab, dab, dab. You can put on a fairly thick coat. Now this is what it looks like with all of our citrus stuff on it. Now, here comes the important part with this. You have to babysit it. So after about 30 minutes, we're going to come back. We're going to take our picky stabby thing, and we're going to see if we can pick off any of the gray. If we can, we're going to see how much we pick off and if we need more time or if we're done. More than likely, we're going to need more time. I find that these guys take at least an hour, but you have to babysit them. Also, I am in the South. It is humid, and I'm in my basement, which is humid. I don't know if that matters. If you were somewhere very, very dry, if that would have a different effect on this. So, babysitting this is the key. And this is why I say that. So, see, this one has got a lot of not clean lines on it. The only difference between this one and this one, which is a lot cleaner, is this one sat on for less time. This side I totally forgot about and left on for like several hours. So that's the difference. That's the only difference. Same vinyl, same everything, was the amount of time that the citrus stuff stayed on it. So keep that in mind. You have to babysit this. Alrighty, so we're at the 40-ish minute mark-ish, because I can never remember time. But anywho, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your official scraper tool, come over here and see if we can scrape any of it off. And we can't. So we wait some more. I would have been really surprised if it had come off, to be honest, but I do like to check it because, like I said, babysitting is key. So we wait some more. Alright, so it's been a little bit over an hour and I came to check and we've got where it'll scrape off. What you want to check is that it will scrape off cleanly along the edge. If it won't, then you need to leave it on here a little bit longer. And I don't want to scrape because it sounds horrible. And I'm sure you don't want to hear that. But you want to scrape and make sure, scrape, and then you can use your little tool we used earlier and make sure that you have a clean line. So scrape and then kind of wipe some. Looks like we're getting a pretty clean line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to scrape and then we'll take our stencil off. Alright, so we have scraped and wiped and scraped and wiped. So now we're going to be brave and take off our stencil. And be careful wherever you peel it right here because it's still a little iffy, so you can't actually peel some of it off. There we go. So now I just clean mine off with some Windex. You just need some water. I'm in my basement. I don't have any, so I just use my Windex because it's what's close by. And you're just going to wipe it off to get off any extra residue. So there we go. we're all done. Now this little spot and this little spot were both little spots in my stencil where I've been a little aggressive in weeding, and so they weren't perfect when I put them in there. Now, to be brutally honest, this is my gripe with this. I've now done this J, I guess 3 times, and kind of gotten 3 different results from it. And I think that's the big thing with this. If you had to do a one-off, I think you'd be pretty good with it. But if you had to do a bunch of these and they all needed to be really uniform, I don't think this is the technique for it. But it's really kind of a cool thing to know to do, especially if you need like a more masculine project or something that's more permanent than vinyl. It's a very cool alternative to know that's out there. But it is a little quirky, shall we say, compared to some other techniques that are out there. But Citristrip is, I think, about $10 for the jar. You know, it is a heck of a lot cheaper than a laser. So, but it's another cool thing to know to do. So, if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments, and I will be back with another video soon. Thank you so much for watching.